Okay, so everybody has a handout, and we'll get the handout to anybody who missed. Let us know. My name is Cindy. I run a business from my home. I started it about 12 years ago, doing digital marketing for alternative medicine. So naturopaths, Qigong masters, massage therapists, anybody. Before I was doing that, I was writing software. I'm a software engineer by happenstance. Writing software for a practice management software for eye doctors. And so before that, I was running clinics, optometric clinics in the Portland area, and managing them and just helping them grow their businesses. And that's really where a lot of my local SEO and how to, run a small business and get the word out came from, is from there. But we also do a lot of digital marketing for the clients that we offer the software to. And now I have my own set of clients that I help them just reach out to everybody around the globe, so you can go any bigger. So a lot of my clients now are more virtual. They'll have a brick and mortar where they practice because they're a naturopath, but then they also do online courses and a bunch of other things to get people to, know who they are and what they are and follow them. And then there's the whole, influencer and all that stuff, which we can get to if you guys are interested, but we'll start with the beginning. So I created the handout just to kind of give an overview of where I have people start. And so some of you guys may have already done this and you can check it all off and be like, I'm done. And so what I thought for this week's session, we just go through the handout, make sure everybody's on the same page, and you guys can ask questions and talk about what you're using now that works and doesn't work, and kind of share, because I think that above anything else, me telling you what works for my clients isn't necessarily going to work here for us on the peninsula. It's a very different world out here, as we all know. And so there's a lot of businesses here that I've worked with. Sue connected me through during the whole COVID thing, helping people just get online and figure out how to navigate that, learn how to use Instagram, start reaching out. I had some of the people that have farms here locally that didn't know how to get their produce from just sitting out in their fields rotting away. So we figured out how to do, just light Instagram. It doesn't have to be scary if you're not an Instagram person. You don't have to be Instagram. I'm not a big Facebook person, but I run a ton of Facebook campaigns for my clients. I don't personally post on Facebook very much. But you still want to use the tools for your business that are going to get you where you need to be. But as I mentioned in the handout, it's all about figuring out what works for your business and for you. So everybody has different skill sets. Some people prefer to blog and write newsletters and do like all this long, copy type work. And other people are, love the 2-sentence Instagram post with just a picture that represents everything they want to say. So you kind of have to figure out what works for you, and it's going to evolve, right? As your business evolves, as all things evolve. Okay. I'm going to go through kind of the quick highlight steps, and then we'll just kind of get into questions and see where we're at, and kind of if you guys are comfortable talking about what you're doing in your business and how things are working, not working, we can kind of figure that out. And then next week, if you have things you want help with, we can bring your laptop or phone or whatever, and we can kind of get into it more personalized too, because I'm happy to kind of troubleshoot. I think we can all learn from each other as well. Okay, so obviously when you're first starting your business, you've got to figure out all the logistics, right? Licensing and all that. We're not going to go into that. What I want to focus on is the more marketing piece. That digital marketing is where I have more experience. I'm still struggling with the state on some issues of my business, as I'm sure you guys know what I'm saying. So you want to figure out who is it that are your best customers. So a lot of people will open a business, and if you're a restaurant or a bar or something, you're just going to take whoever comes in. And they're going to walk in the door, but you want to really target toward people that are what you consider your best customers, and whatever that means for your business, which is going to be different for somebody who's running a restaurant than somebody who's running Marsh's Museum or running a performing arts center. There's just different, right, people that come through your door, and some of them are customers, and some are people that maybe suck more of your energy every day, take more time, and yet they still don't really contribute to the business either financially, emotionally. I mean, there's lots of levels to that, right? So that's really important to figure that out. And to do that, it takes more than just you sitting down and be like, these are my 3 favorite people. You really want to ask the people how they found you, what they want from your business, what they need, and all that. And a lot of times you do that early days, right? But you want to do it also regularly as you're going through your business and your business is growing. And all of that information is really important to keep track of and be able to go back and look at as the years go by, because you're going to learn from how the evolution of your business, is it tracking with what your customers want. And especially in a small community like we have here, trying to really figure that out and, you know, evolve with what new people coming to the peninsula, right? So our population, even 10 years ago, 5 years ago, was very different than our population on the peninsula today. And so we need to figure out, like, who are the people that are coming here and how do we serve remote workers like myself, who probably never leaves my house. But we like to go to dinner. We like to go performing arts. We still haven't been here, but we're going to make it. We like to, you know, do all these activities. Right now, we do a lot of activities at the school because, you know, we're still in middle school. And then, you know, if you are posting on social media, you're getting a lot of feedback there, hopefully. So one of the best things about social media, besides blasting everybody and having it show up in a million places, is that you can get comments back from people. And as we know, it's easy for people to give you more honest feedback when they think that, you know, you don't know who they are, even though you do. It's a weird dichotomy there, right, with people online. So getting that feedback and then responding to it, right, and being curious and not, you know, letting it hurt your feelings, letting it be something that helps you grow and move. That's what's important about being online, and then not engaging with the people that really are just there to be annoying and not helpful. Okay, so I won't read word for word because that's going to be mind-numbing for everybody. Okay, so if you don't have your business on Google, largest search engine in the world right now, I listed a whole list at the end. There's DuckDuckGo. If you aren't a Google person and feel very offended by them, you've got alternatives out there as well. A lot of people like Bing, and, you know, there's a million, right? But what's nice about Google is it is quick. It's going to take you like 5 minutes to get your business up there, and it puts you on so many different places, right? So you're literally on the map. So if somebody comes or is planning to come to the peninsula from outside, they can find you. And us that are newer to the peninsula, we've only been here 5 years, it's nice to be able to find all those, you know, great little businesses that are here and just hard to see what they do. And, you know, instead of walking, I do walk along the peninsula and just go into every business and talk to people and see what they're doing. But you can't, you know, I haven't made it very far in the time we've been here. So Google helps you reach, right, a large amount of people, and you can put different listings up there for the same business. You can get really creative with it, and I can give you more ideas on that today or next week when we get to it, if you have questions there. And then I give you a whole section on playing to your strengths. Like I mentioned, if you don't like to write, then don't start writing a blog, because it's worse if you start something and then just can't feed it and keep it going, because they found you and now they've lost you, right? You're just gone, or things are changing your business and they're thinking you're still the same as what you were, and, you know, life changed, everything moves. Give you a whole list of some ideas for free listings of places you should go. It doesn't hurt to put your profile everywhere. I tell my clients this all the time. I have clients that are like, I don't want to be on LinkedIn. I don't want to be on all these things. I don't want to have to feed it. In this case, you don't have to feed it, but putting your name there, you're going to pop up in all of these different ways that you would have never imagined before. And so it's, you know, fairly quick list. The ones at the top of the list are ones that I know we use a lot here, and not every business is everywhere there. So I thought I'd be helpful and just give you some things. I didn't put all the social medias in. I talk about Facebook a lot because the peninsula seems to really love the Facebook. Instagram is getting more exciting now. You know, there's more and more people posting, but you know, Facebook is great. And if you're posting on Facebook or Instagram, you can check it to post to both. So you don't, you can save yourself time, and we can get into tips and tricks next week for sure. And I'm sure you guys have some tips and tricks as well. Okay, let's see. So then I'm going to give you tips for the listing. So if you're going to put something up, you can't just put it up there and forget about it, right? So especially if your business where your hours change or something big shifts, you don't want to leave it old, because then people are going to come in inevitably or call, and you're gonna be like, oh yeah, dang, I don't know where that is or what I did. So try and keep good notes of where you're putting your posts so that you can go back and update them. And then, remember, the internet is forever. So there's some things you can't edit once it goes out. So you want to keep those to be something that's dated, so people know, okay, this is only the May events, or this is only something happening in this time period. A lot of people will forget to put dates on their posts when they share, like little memes or whatever. And that can be frustrating, and it can end up with more phone calls. And yeah, it's a huge time suck on customer service if you have a team of customer service. Okay, so then I talk a little bit about social media. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Instagram are very tied together also. So you can post in one and have it just flood out to the other ones, which saves me tons of time. I use that. I'll also, I didn't give you some apps, but there's some apps if you guys do a lot on your mobile phones. I kind of wanted to assess where people are at with that kind of tech. But if you do a lot on your mobile phones, there's apps like Later and other things that will let you post in one place, and it'll schedule it to all the others for you. So you don't have to necessarily be constantly posting on all these platforms. You can choose the 3 or 4 that you want. I don't think you need to post on every social media platform. Like, who's using Tumblr anymore? Come on, sorry, but wow, that thing needs to go. There's a lot of old stuff. There's also tons of new stuff. Sue was already telling me about a survey online piece. So there's software out there. So exchanging information, especially if you're like, I really want to do, this survey, I want to send people, little coupons or do something in that way. Finding out what other people are using and what works, rather than trying to figure it out on your own, right? And spending all this time to put a Google form up and then realizing, oh, it's not doing what I want it to do. It's not as automated. It's Google Forms are a little more clunky. They're getting better. They have some skins, is what they call them, to do bad stuff, but you have to invest more time and energy into that. And so it's easier to find something that is going to simplify than trying to fight through the tech that's out there. And then if you really want to get into the marketing, you're so excited by what I'm talking about that you're like, yes, I want to do it all. I give you a few. There's a school, Marie Ferrolio does a school, which if you Googled anything on marketing, her team is amazing at getting their thing all the way to the top. So you've probably seen it. And then I just give you some stats about Google and why you should be putting your listings out everywhere. Good nighttime reading for everyone. And then just some definitions, which I probably should have started with. Sorry, put them on the back page. So brick and mortar just means your business is physical, right? It's an actual building. People come in and out of it. You expect customers to walk in the door, versus a virtual business, right? Which is just out there. And all, majority of the work I do now is really to get people to join online activities, and you can do both, right? So you can offer, like we're doing today, we're recording this, it's going to be out in the world, so people don't have to physically come here, which became very popular during our little problem these last few years. But you'd want to mix, right? You want to, if that's what your customers want, right? We go back to the first page. Is that something that people really want and enjoy? Because then you're spending a lot of time investing in this online presence that isn't really helping people come to what you want them to do, right? And if it feels hard, right, it may not be a good fit for you in this moment to try and create this whole thing. I don't think every business needs a website. I don't think everybody needs an online presence. Like if you go to my website, it's one page. There's not much there. My son put it up for me. It's pretty minimal. I work off of word of mouth. So one client to the next, to the next, to the next. And, as we know, we all, have connections that you don't even know about, especially in the peninsula. The more, I start recognizing people's names, and you just kind of start knowing people, even though you probably never met in person, or you met once. Okay, so then SEO is search engine optimization. So SEO applies to more than just your website. It can apply to all your posts. So making sure that you're, adding tags, making sure you're using, I know the hashtags have kind of are a weird thing, but they can be important and they can help you if you can jump onto one that's already trending. You don't have to be the one to start the trend, but you can, hitch your wagon, so to speak, to other people that are trending. And that can really help move things forward. So for events like this, it would be helpful if we had some sort of tag or way to find it, because just putting an event on Facebook, you have to be in the right place, right? So Facebook is very you have to join the group to see the events, and then there's pages, which we can get into those details if you guys want to talk through that. But there's pages on Facebook as well, which they do two different things, right? You don't have to run a group. You could just have kind of like a virtual storefront, a page. You could also do a market now on Facebook. There's all these things, right? And options within that one thing. A lot of my clients will discount Facebook altogether because they just don't like it and it feels icky, which sometimes Facebook does, but that doesn't discount it altogether. You've got to figure out what of that piece will work for your business and then use that part of it and just ignore the rest of it. You don't have to go crazy. Same with the website, right? There's people that have 20 pages on their website. It's does it even look at all that? I don't think so. Keep it simple. Don't try and overdo it. But once you see things that are working or people are coming in or oh, I saw your thing on Facebook, that's why I'm here. Then something's working and you can put more energy into it. Local SEO obviously is all about just local stuff, how to use all these tools we're talking about in a local way. So how do you get your profile? So if you want both, right, brick and mortar, and you have the virtual component, you might have two profiles on Google so that you can really make sure people that are really living in kind of more virtual and they're discounting, right? So even your customers are oh, they only have brick and mortar. I'm not ever going to go there. I don't want to leave my house. I feel that way a lot of days. But if you want to have both, right? So offer to cover both, if that's what your customers want, right? It doesn't always make a good sense for every business. Okay, and then apps are those icons on your phone. And most of you guys have phones here, so you know what an app is. And apps are great. There's tons of them. There's millions of them coming out. My husband writes apps for an event company and they produce millions of them a year. It's insane. So you, again, talking to each other and figuring out, what's working for you, what are you using, and ask those questions is better because you don't have to sift through the app store trying to figure out, oh, this one has a rating of this, and then you're reading the reviews. It's exhausting. And that's, we'll all stay connected so we can share ideas too. It's fun that way. And then, I talk about the business page and that, and I give you a few links to just blogs and places that I use for my clients. I have a bunch of handouts on all these things too, but I didn't want to overwhelm you guys with 5 million handouts. So that's in summary, my contact information, my email, and my website, which again is a one page. It won't mean much to you guys because it's not really being kept up. I am in my last, hopefully 5 years of running this business, and then I will be doing something else. But for now, I wanted to have some sort of web presence, at least out there in the world. It just makes my clients feel happier. I don't know. It is what you do. Okay, so that was a lot. Good information. Okay, good. Okay, so if you're comfortable, I'd love for you to tell me kind of your business and what you're doing. And you don't have to stand in front of the camera if you don't want to. Hopefully it'll pick up your voices. You can come up here. I'm happy to share the stage with you. But talk, a little bit about your business. Give us a couple of things that have worked. If you want to talk about things that didn't work, I think that would be helpful. And then if you have questions, I'll keep track of some questions and we can talk about things also in more detail, or I can just go into something in more detail if you're interested in hearing more about some specific topic.
And if you're going to stay here, do speak loudly because it is a directional microphone.
If you can project, otherwise you can sit at the projection area here in the front and talk. All right, anyone want to go first?
I'll go.
Yay.
Oh,
Take the stage.
Take this stage.
Welcome.
I like the camera.
I do.
So own, my wife and I own Akaw Painting, which is all a painting and a construction company here on the peninsula. And then we also are realtors here on the peninsula. And then we do Wake TV, which is podcast is what people are calling it now. But so for me, with what you were talking about, I like to pretty much play by play my whole entire life. I love the camera. I like talking, so I don't mind right now even getting a screenshot or a selfie with you. I blast, hey, I'm in this marketing, all y'all should come down, be a part of it, or jump on Zoom, whatever, watch this video, tag me here, copy here. So that's me. I'm very right here. Now, my wife, on the other hand, would be all the way in the back here, not wanting to be around here, wants to look at the photo first, things like that before it gets posted. I post everything. So if you are in my area, most likely you will make it to the internet. So some of my clients will say, hey, no pictures. They know. And so things that have worked for me is just myself. As a realtor, you pretty much have to advertise yourself out there. So I took that into my business. I have really just, this is what you get, and I kind of take it or leave it type idea. Some clients love it. I have gotten hired just for me, and then some clients I am too much. So you, just like you were saying, you have to find what works for you, because if you don't enjoy it, if you don't enjoy being in front of the camera, then maybe hire out the marketing aspect of it, or find out something that you do enjoy. There are so many, and you covered all of them. There's so many aspects as to what you can do. You can just do Instagram, simple, like you were saying, quick, this nice, beautiful photo of what you do, and that's enough. People who are going to look for your business are going to find it, or you can be blasting every little thing that you do. I advertise on every social platform I possibly can. It can be difficult, like you said, to feed that. I hadn't heard that before. But as long as, like you were saying, keeping it current, then that will kind of feed itself. And then what is amazing, I know some people don't like it, but the algorithm, if you get people liking and doing that, it will run on its own. So I do try to go in all platforms, because you don't ever know what somebody's looking at. For me personally, though, I use Facebook the most on this peninsula. I keep a tally. Word of mouth is huge, so the more you can get out in the community, I highly suggest that as well. And then I recently posted in the newspaper for here. I didn't ever, when I first moved here, I said, no way, why would you waste money on the newspaper? I do think the newspaper here does work. That one has shown a good one, but my biggest tallies are myself being out there. Facebook, a lot of people see me on the peninsula here, and then lately the newspaper has been a good one as well. And then I do TikTok, and I can hear all the little bubbles with the thumbs down right now. But for the younger generation, TikTok is huge. Make those videos, they're quick. Keep your marketing, I know this video is long, but keep those marketing small. I try to do 30 seconds to a minute, because you'll get more views on that. 30 minutes to an hour, you don't see and then on Facebook, you can look at insights to see what's working. So that's how I do it. Follow me.
Well, I'm in the opposite end of the spectrum.
Who wants to go next?
That's what's great, right? Your
No,
business
please.
can. That's the great part, right? You can make your business whatever works for you, and it doesn't mean it's going to work less, right? You're not going to be less successful than the person who's in the camera every day. You just have to find other ways to do it. And a lot of the Instagram posts don't have to be you, like you don't have to be talking on the camera. If you guys have a great, clip of something that happened on the stage, that's amazing. And especially if people are interacting and you see it, a lot of my clients, some of my clients who work with kids, so they're NDs, pediatrician NDs, they will just do like hands and little feet, right? Because they don't want to do faces, right? So, and hands are huge. Like if you're going to be on the camera, something about hands is like, it goes wildfire. It's crazy online. So you don't have to use your face. You don't have to, be in front of the camera all the time. I'm not a in front of the camera person. It is, I'm fine with it, but I've learned how to do it. And I've, presented to thousands of people in a crowd, but it's not my favorite thing to do. Like, I love just being at home on the couch doing which is what my business is. That's all I do now, because I don't want to be the face of what it is. My clients want me to go to the conferences and network and do all this stuff. I can't do it. I'm gonna have Natasha do it.
Yeah,
She knows what she's doing. Okay, who's next? Don't be shy. You don't have to get up here. You can stay in your seat and just talk loudly. It's fine. I'm okay with that.
I'll just move a little closer on camera.
That's okay.
today. So both with the Peninsula Art Center here and the dog grooming shop that we have in Vancouver, they were built pretty much on word of mouth. We used Facebook a lot when we first got here, and then developed an email list after that. And because our, know your client, know who you want in here, we want locals.
Mhm.
Because tourists come with a different agenda, and we do get some here, but we want the predominant amount of the audience to be locals who know the rules about it being a quiet listening room, and then they create the atmosphere. Usually people here on vacation are just like I am on vacation. I'm having a good time, I'm drinking a little too much, and I'm a little too loud. So we have selected who we are targeting, and Friends of Facebook is a wonderful way to get the information out to locals and to people who are like-minded, kind of positive. We've tried marketing beyond that. And because most of our concerts are small and they sell out, and we're very selective, we don't really need to go much beyond that. We've looked at whether or not to have a virtual presence, and it's very complicated when you come to concerts to find a way to have that translate into money for our musicians.
Right.
It isn't for us. We certainly can't sell alcohol virtually. So that is our entire revenue stream is beer and wine.
Yeah.
So it would all be extra money going to our performers, and that is something that we need to look at. What are the best ways to do that, and do we want to get into that? But that would be our next kind of social media decision. And on the dog grooming, I think sometimes it's almost a problem to have a good Facebook presence, because originally when I founded it, I wanted the website to have tutorials and have people really be able to see how to take care of their dogs at home and stuff. Like, no, if you're successful right off the get-go, you don't have time for that, and you don't need it as much.
Right.
But then Facebook, people want to book their appointments on Messenger, and that's problematic. That adds a layer to your day, because all of our best clients book when they're in.
Right.
And then that ends up being new people that you don't know if you want or not. So yeah, I'm kind of the opposite end of the spectrum, that really social media hasn't been a priority for these two business models.
Yeah. Do you guys put ads, like Natasha was saying, in the paper, and do you do other like print things that you do? I think goes out to the community, not really.
Not really. We used to do posters,
I see a lot
and
of
we had big,
flyers.
beautiful posters and flyers, and
Yeah.
took them all over town. And mostly because we've been successful, we don't need to
Don't
do
need to do
that. There are times when we probably, in retrospect, should have, oh, that was kind of a small concert. I guess we, have gotten a little too confident about that. So I think it may be time to take a look at that, especially if we're gonna ramp up our schedule again.
Mhm.
But we've been enjoying slowing down a little bit.
Yeah, I understand that.
Anyway, that's us.
Yeah, good. No, that's exciting. That's great. I didn't talk a lot about the print and paper marketing piece, but that, it's costly nowadays. And even if you can print it at home, it's not as shiny and beautiful unless you go in for a really, if you're gonna do a lot of stuff, right? You'll go in for a big printer. One of my friends has a huge like poster printer that we use for school stuff and other things, but like, why would you have that in your house? Like, it doesn't seem like it works. But print ads are good, and especially if you are, you know, you have a band or somebody coming that is a little more a certain taste for certain people, and you know your locals well enough, then you know, oh, you know, you guys can react to that. But it may be nice to have a nice intimate venue out again where you don't have to fill all the seats and just, you know, have it a little bit more cozy, which is fun too. So it's, you know, and it's all about what do you want your business to be and what really feeds you, right? Having a packed house with a bunch of tourists that are a little bit more tipsy than you want them is a fair, you know, a hard no. Like, we don't want to do that. We don't want to attract that type of client. And trying to figure out how do you weed that out? That's the important piece. And, you know, it's about messaging. It's, you know, it's all the things, right, that you guys have already said. Like, you guys know the drill. It's really, I think of this class more as of sharing of ideas and seeing if we can come up with something new that you can try, and then, you know, keep in touch to be like, you know, that didn't really work. What else are you doing? What's happening? You know, because we're all coming at it from a different angle. So you may be able to use a small piece of what Natasha's doing in your business, and you may be able to use the, you know, new tool that Sue figured out, and, you know, bring those things all together to suddenly like find something new and exciting. So I don't know, it's yeah, that's what I like about it, is that it's never dull. I don't have a day where I'm doing the same thing. I'm trying to set up and teach one of my clients to use ChatGPT, which is a whole other thing, which we can certainly talk about, which I don't know if you've played with that yet, but it's super fun. It basically is an AI, it's artificial intelligence, and it, for lack of a better word, I'll explain it to you how I explain it to my clients, and you guys can go with it from there. But basically it sees everything on the internet. Like, you know how vast the internet is. It's insane. It's everywhere, right? And it knows all these things. But when you Google search, you're like, dogs or whatever. It brings up a bunch of listings and you're like, no, not those dogs. I want, you know, so then you have to learn to say corgi dogs or whatever you're looking for, right? ChatGPT, you just talk to it. So it's like you're sitting there with your friends and you're talking, only it knows everything that's on the internet. Now, it knows everything that's on the internet, so it's not necessarily all correct, right? So as I caution when I talk to my son's middle school class this year about internet and the problems there, you can't believe everything. Like, Wikipedia is, you know, open forum. It's not all true. My husband has several postings on Wikipedia. They're totally not true. But, you know, anybody can edit it. You can post and do things. So ChatGPT is great because you can ask it. It's like this interactive thing where you talk to it and it does things. For my clients, it writes their blog posts for them. They will say, I want a blog post that's about, you know, natural healing of gut dysbiosis, you not using antibiotics. I want no antibiotics. I want no, and you're literally saying this to this thing, and it's listening. Do you understand? It says, yes, I understand. And you kind of go through this little back and forth until you get it totally figured out, or ish. And then it spits out this blog post for you, which some of them are like right on. I'm still like surprised by the whole thing. AI is still like that futuristic thing where the robots are going to come and take over the world one day. So for me, I'm like, but my clients struggle, right? Because the cost of hiring a copywriter and doing all those things, it's a lot. And when we're talking about trying to get your posts out and doing all this stuff, if you can automate it as much as possible, that's a huge part of my business, is helping my clients with tech that will help them automate and get it so that they don't have to be the one actually writing every single word and posting every picture. They'll take pictures, which is dangerous, I know, take it with a grain of salt. So they'll take pictures in their everyday life, and then I'll pick through the ones that they want. Well, now I have ChatGPT doing, and it looks for specific things, and it can see if their mouth is open, it can see if their eyes are closed, it can, you know, so it helps me just speed up my work, because it's just me and a team of 4 other people. So, and we do, a lot of marketing campaigns. It's insane. Okay. Sue, is it your turn? You want to chat a little bit about an aspect of what you're doing that you would do marketing, or just your thoughts? You can go any direction with this.
Yeah, I know, I have,
There's so many
I have a big
ways.
list.
I bet.
I have questions about, a lot of times I'm trying to get information out quickly that's time sensitive. And compelling enough that people will actually click to find out what it is. If they actually find out what it is, they say, oh, I need to know that. But how best to reach out to people who are inundated with information constantly. I mean, you know, newsletters I have heard are just like, forget about it.
Yeah.
They have such a poor click open rate because you have to really pay attention to a newsletter. Some of them are the kind that are inserted into the email and you have a little better luck with those, but the ones you have to click out to, it's like nobody clicks anymore. And you can make them real pretty, but
Yeah.
nobody clicks.
Right.
So I'm trying to figure out how do you get information to people?
Yeah.
In
That's
a
a good
way
one.
that will actually attention grab and
Right.
still be professional.
Right.
So that's one of my challenges. And then I have, as you were talking, I have a bunch of different types of businesses I'm currently working with. And I would love to probably talk about at least a couple of them.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So now, should I go through them now, or do you want to respond to the first part now?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think when you're trying to attention grab to different people, it depends on who's on your list, like who on the list really needs this information. And so if you know, and you kind of have to test that, right? So for my clients, a lot of times I don't know their list, right? I don't know who these people are we're reaching out to. So we'll do a newsletter format one. And some of them, they love it. Like their list just loves hearing everything from this person. And like, you know, my mom has a few newsletters that she reads top to bottom every day. And she sends me one a week. That's our rule. She can send me one because it sends every day. And I don't have time to read it every day. But then, you know, she wants to call and talk about it. So I have to read it. So, you know, I think there's different types that you need to figure out. If it's an alert blast of something, you know, more important for kind of a bigger community of people. And so you've got a mixed bag of people, right? You've got, you know, all different people in there. And then you want to keep it short, simple, to the point. Like, what is it they need to know? And there it is, which you know. So then how do you blast it? So using some sort of, so are you reaching out over multiple socials? In that scenario, you could take one of the scheduling apps, right? And let it post to all of those places at one time. And there's a few different ones that, and I gave you later, it's the one that I primarily use. But there's, it's totally coming, not in my brain right now. But there is also a scheduling app that works with social media. I'll look it up when I get home because I haven't used it for a while, but I did like it when we were using it. And yeah, the ND is still using it that I had it on. But that one as well, it's a calendar view. So you can kind of put the things in that you want posted and have placeholders. And then you're just dropping in the like 2 or 3 lines of text. I don't know how big your blasts are. But again, it will send it to all the places. So you don't have to go into each of them manually if you're doing a bunch of social media stuff. And it will send it out through an email depending on what system you're using. I mean, it's all kind of system dependent too. Like for my clients, they are shackled a bit by HIPAA and patient confidentiality and all that. So we have to use specific tools. But there's a lot of those tools that'll work for just general software. So if you're just sending it through Gmail, even a business account through Gmail, you can still key into these tools. So that may be something we just need to look at what your set of tools are that you're using, Sue, and then we can figure out what would be a good piece that would plug into all the areas. As far as like crafting the copy, that is more on you. I mean, you could try see what ChatGPT has to say to you, but
Right. I think I'm okay
kind
with,
of figure out like,
yeah,
how do you craft it, but work to get it to all the places you want. That's what I'm thinking we might be able to solve.
if I had a system, if it's like, oh, whenever I have a blast, we do this, then this, then this,
Mhm.
then this, it would.
Yeah.
Make my life better
Yeah.
because,
You don't have to hunt into each thing.
Yeah,
Log in.
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, if there's a way to do that,
Yeah.
and I have a couple more questions, like. What's up with Twitter? Is that a thing to actually promote or advertise on? And do I need to care?
Twitter has its own, right, it's so politicized right now, and there's a lot of stuff going on with Twitter. For my clients, their people aren't on Twitter. And a lot of us have left Twitter, right, because it just wasn't great. If you had asked me this 6 months ago, I would have been like, yeah, we're still using Twitter, but now I have no clients using Twitter because it just became this thing. But again, if your people are on Twitter, it's a great way to blast out like a one-line alert to be like, even if it just says, check your email or check your group or whatever the thing is, you could just do, and it could be part of this later app too, Sue, because you can plug in all of your accounts into this one blast. And then whatever you post in there, that app shoots it to all your things, which is nice. And so you wouldn't have to worry, should I do Twitter? If you have a Twitter account and there's people that are paying attention, why not? Because it doesn't take you any more time now if you're using something like that.
And while we're on that sort of note, do you know anything about why everybody's experiencing like email bounces, increased security? I mean, it's kind of crazy.
Mhm.
And how do you fix it?
Yeah, so deliverability is a huge topic. I can go into it in a lot of detail if we have time today or even next week. It is a lot of trial and error, right? So for my clients, we don't use the word free in anything we do anymore. We don't, we try not to avoid
Free is a problem.
percentages. Free is a percentages, and there's a whole list. I can print out a little handout I have of like the hot words, but those change too, right? So now they are also, the algorithm, mainly Google, is looking at no charge and kicks out no charge. I'm like, dang it, how many ways can I say free? And so we do all sorts of weird stuff where we're like, purple means free now, and we like, if you're in the know, purple. And so we do weird things like that too, where we want to say something but we can't say the thing anyway. But we'll also go, we'll go live on Facebook or something and we'll talk about it and make it kind of something that people remember. So there's also, so bare minimum, what software you use for deliverability. So if you use Constant Contact, or if you use, any of the MailChimp, any of those, free ones, and you're sending out emails, they'll, in their own algorithm, they'll give you kind of key things that you shouldn't put in there because they know it's going to get flagged. And then if you're using a piece of software besides just Gmail to send emails out, it will have a way for you to look at those analytics and see,
Why are they getting
this is
flagged? That's what I don't
exactly.
understand.
So if you can dig into your analytics, are you sending it through Gmail like a blast, or are you using a piece of software?
Well, again, I'm just sending, let's just say I want to send something to my board.
Yep,
It's maybe 20-25 people.
right.
I send it and Google
Is it BCC?
blocks me, sometimes as a BCC, sometimes as a copy. I mean, I've tried a bunch of different ways, and it's not, I don't think it's how I send it.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna block certain types of like Gmail addresses. Even if I send it from Gmail to Gmail, it blocks me from me,
Right.
and I'm like, why am I blocking myself? Yeah.
So
If I send it from my work email to my Gmail account, my Gmail blocks it back.
I try and think of it as it's a 50% thing. There's only 50% you can control from your side. And the other side, you got to get those guys online with it. So remember that when you get an email in your inbox and you're like, oh, really? Another one of these? I already unsubscribed. I've reported as spam. I don't want it in my inbox. And so, you just delete it.
No, it isn't the recipient.
Well, somewhere along the way, they've blocked you. I will bet you a brownie, that there is
I
that.
know I didn't block me.
No. Right, but it's not necessarily you. So remember that you are beholden to whoever is serving out your email. So your Gmail has 3 layers, possibly more, depending on who you use for your internet and all this stuff. There's multiple layers there, right? So if you have Gmail, fine, Gmail has its algorithm, but then whoever you're using to serve out your email, which if you're using Gmail, could be multiple servers, it gets complicated. And then there's another layer, which is just the algorithm in the, planet, right? Which is basically the web. And whoever's controlling those servers at the moment, which can shift. So what I'm saying is, you may not have blocked it, but somewhere along the way, the AI algorithm, whatever, said, oh, she doesn't want her own emails anymore. And so you can undo that, but you have to go in and figure out where the block is and And I mean, I can give you a handout for that too. Just
Okay.
like some troubleshooting tips on how to undo it once it gets blocked.
That would be hugely helpful, and I'm
Yeah.
sorry for this digression.
I know, but it makes a big difference for us to be able to unblock
Yeah,
emails.
I would love to be able to unblock emails.
And so some of it, you have to get the people who also don't think they blocked you to know how to fix it.
Yeah,
Too.
I
So
get that.
we send emails out to our people, so some of my clients use a piece of software like Constant Contact or MailChimp or a CRM, like a database, like the your doctors and all those guys, right? They have your emails in the system. So they'll use those systems to send out the email. So in those systems, there's also flags, right? Where it'll get flagged. And so then you have to go in and figure out what it is. So if somebody has Gmail, there's a little, it's about this long, it's a pretty long email that says, hey, it looks like you're not getting my emails. So if somebody hasn't opened our emails for, let's say, the last 2 or 3 emails, the system I have automatically sends this email out and was like, hey, I don't think you're getting our emails in your inbox. And it gives them all these little steps to do to try and fix it. It doesn't always work. If they have Hotmail, who has Hotmail stuff? Sorry. I knew there would be one in the room. Yes. So Hotmail has its own algorithm and it's really hard to fix it once they decide you don't get that anymore. MSN, there's people that still have AOL. You don't even care about the ones you're not getting. So it's fine. So I care that you're not getting it, but you don't care. No, so it is a little bit of a mixed bag, right? So it's not something where I'm like, do this and you're good, you're
Okay.
golden.
That's
it's
what
an
I was kind
ongoing
of hoping for.
thing.
I was
But I'll
hoping
give
for
you
a
the list. So you
email
can-
police that could come in and fix my. Yeah.
So that's where you have somebody like myself or somebody else come in and we
Okay.
can get it fixed.
So the EDC serves the entire county.
Mhm,
So we have lots of different kinds of businesses,
right.
but the ones that I'm hearing from the most
Mhm.
about marketing are folks that want to grow their visibility to the general public, not just internal to the county, because we
Right.
kind of know how to do that. We know
Right.
there's this underground Facebook world and there's only 2 newspapers and,
Right.
we know how to,
That's where you do.
we know how to get information locally. But to get people who are visitors,
Mhm,
for an individual business,
mhm,
that is a little trickier, especially for new startups.
mhm.
So let's say you've got a new startup business.
Mhm.
I'll use one as an example. It is a custom cupcake place
Nice,
made from a home kitchen that's been certified.
nice.
So their entire business is online and they want to be able to but they will deliver, so they'll deliver cupcakes to you at your picnic table if you want, or wherever. So they want to raise their visibility.
Mhm.
And if they do it well enough, they'll eventually get a brick and mortar.
Yeah.
So. So for the, and of course, I think she's 17 years old,
Mhm.
right? Working with her mom. Her mom helped get the kitchen certified.
Sure.
So, you know. How do I assist her?
First, tell her to go to Natasha and like learn how to be. So, I mean, even if she basically just needs to create, make herself an influencer of cupcakes. Right, so on social media, so, and 17, she can do that. Obviously, mom should put some safety plans in place, which if she really
Right.
wants to get hard about it, talk to my husband who's locked down everything for my poor child. But that's the biggest, quickest way to go, right? Because she is virtual, she's not wanting to, eventually she could go local. She'll hit the locals and the outside. She should definitely still post in the Long Beach Facebook group, like there's several people that, sell their food and different things that are like, I'm at Benson's for a couple hours today, come on down, and I go run down there and get my pot stickers. Or back. So that, that kind of stuff works. And then, for her, the 17-year-old, like it would be really good if she hasn't created a business plan to go through that whole process. Because to go online and do these social medias, right? This is like it's a whole business in itself, right? To teach somebody how to frame their business for a certain client, right? Which is what the beginning of the first page of the document is for.
Okay,
Right, we
so
want to-
maybe a
Mhm.
good question is.
Yeah.
What should small businesses be budgeting
Mhm.
to get somebody who knows what they're doing to assist with their online marketing? I mean, and how do you budget for that? How do they plan for that?
Yeah.
Because that's, I'm in at the front end of that. So
Yeah.
if I talk to her at some point, that might be a better solution.
Yeah. Well, she's 17, so YouTube is their university.
Right, but
that's a
I'm
huge
thinking of this
place
whole list of
to go.
businesses I have here, and a lot of them are
Right.
not
Not doing it,
17.
yeah. So, YouTube really for the people that can do that or learn that way, right? And it's also about how you learn, right? Not everybody can learn from a YouTube video. Been trying to fix my car for a while on YouTube, it's not working. I don't know why the windshield wipers don't work. Anyway, so you've got to, again, figure out what will work for each of those business owners. So giving them what I do with my new people, because I still do consulting, is I ask them, what are the things that you'd be comfortable doing? Like I, put on that first sheet on the first page. You've got to figure out, are you comfortable on camera? Because if you're not, then are your cupcakes comfortable on camera? We put those on camera. What's mom comfortable putting on camera? Maybe they don't want to film their entire house and that kind of stuff. So then you figure that out. But when they're first starting out, you've got to get clear on what do you want your business to be? What is it? Like that's really important, because if you do decide to bring in somebody to help you with marketing, you need to know what your business is and what you want it to be, and putting in like, a 1, 3, 5 year plan, right? Of what the business is, because the messaging is important. And if you just start throwing a bunch of pictures of cupcakes out there with no parameters, then people are going to keep pushing your offer, right?
So I'm hearing you say a 3-year marketing plan should be a part of the business plan.
Yes.
And back to my original question, how do they budget for what it's going to cost for a marketing plan? Because they have never done marketing.
Right.
So let's assume for a minute that they're going to have some help. They're going to have to hire somebody to either coach them or to do it for them.
Right.
So how do they budget for that?
Yeah. So those are two different things. So somebody coaching them, they could probably do a free classes like this and get everything they need over time. If they're trying to do it like we need it all done this week, we're just really motivated right now. Again, YouTube, still a great place to go. Hiring somebody in, I mean, the rates are gonna be all over the place. Like I charge $500 an hour for consulting with me. And it's a lot of times it just opens, it's like this class, right? We're just opening another can of worms, Somebody, if they want somebody to sit down with them and do it, then they could probably get somebody on an hourly basis to help them.
But this is helpful, because then I can say to people, there is no way that you can outsource this. You need to be a
Initially,
part of the
oh, yeah.
sales, you need to be a
Yeah.
part of the marketing plan.
Yeah.
You can't find somebody to do it for you,
Yeah,
completely without your involvement. You can't just pay somebody like you can to fix the plumbing.
right.
It's
Not initially, for sure.
so
You know,
that,
'cause
yeah, for a
you-
small, these are almost
Right.
exclusively what you call micro
Right,
businesses.
and initially you won't necessarily have the money to do it, right? So, as we all know, like a restaurant or something like that, your margins are very small, right? Or like the Performing Arts Center, your margins are on your liquor license, right? It's all riding on that. So they may not have the funds
Yeah,
to
they don't.
market, but yet if they don't market, they're not gonna have the funds to market.
Yeah.
So that's where where you do grassroots, right? You start at the beginning with, I'm going to just post my cupcakes on Instagram every day, forever. Every day I'm gonna post a new cupcake that I made on Instagram. And maybe, she makes some 50 cupcakes and takes little individual pictures of each one and then spreads it out. Like she doesn't have to actually make a cupcake every day, right? So, and getting creative, like it doesn't even have to be a picture of a cupcake. Like who's that guy, Bosu, the guy that does ramen and stuff in Astoria? He posts these weird pictures of like cats in spacesuits. It has nothing to do with his ramen bowls. They're amazing, by the way, but nothing to do with it. So but that part goes back to that marketing kind of business plan. Like, once you step into cats in spacesuits, you're locked into cats in spacesuits. Like
I
you
can
gotta,
definitely see you
keep
posting
going.
pictures of cats and stuff.
it's pretty funny. Yeah,
Raven.
they're good. And you have to find that it's like coming up with your logo for your business, right? You have to figure out what's your colors, what's your look, because then you're writing on that, right? Because if we go into the psychology side of marketing, right, you want something that is going to get stuck in their brain. So when they see it next time, they are suddenly more comfortable with it and more comfortable with it and more comfortable with it until they just start buying stuff from you and they don't really know why. We can be on camera even for a minute. Jeez.
We don't need.
It got to be a long time. How's that?
It's an audio, so
gotta
they
go
can listen
down.
to it on their phone. Because it is gonna be different, right, for a cupcake business versus someone like myself who's doing digital marketing, right? For me, it can take me 6 months to get a new client on board, right? Because there's a lot of questions and they want to make sure they're investing their money. And I charge $5,000 a month to my clients, more, depending on how many, for one campaign a month, I'll do 5,000 a month. So most of my clients do more than that, but let's say one. It's a lot of work and they aren't out of it. I meet with every client at least 2 hours every week, some of them more, depending on how many campaigns we do. Like you can't just walk away from it, like leaving your car at the camp, right? You've got to, I'm messing up the whole lighting now.
I know.
I'm gonna run around over there next and see what happens.
It's what, we have one person online who has not yet complained about anything.
Oh,
Thank you
good.
so much. for your
So patient, thank you.
I would like to say something on the cupcake thing. I started thinking about a lot of the marketing that I did in establishing my dog grooming business. Which was really before most of this stuff existed,
Sure.
Because it's been operating for about 16 years now. Was that I offered incentives, so for referrals,
Nice.
because once you find the customer that you want to have in your place, you want their friends.
Yes.
And so we did,
That's brilliant,
a free collar, a free dog toy, or
Mhm.
whatever, anytime a referral came in from them. But that whole networking thing and referral thing works, I think,
Mhm.
online as well. And what I was
Yeah.
thinking is getting pictures of local celebrities eating her cupcakes and commenting. So she wouldn't even have to be.
Oh, that's such a good idea.
Online, the mayor is
Yeah.
enjoying this flavor of cupcake today, and then just maybe even have them really get the frosting all over their faces or whatever. That takes care of a lot of the
Make it
issues
fun.
with a minor wanting to have something up online.
Mhm.
That's super, super good idea. What about somebody who is starting a totally e-commerce business and their target market is outside the area? Totally, but they're working from here.
Mhm.
How do you launch an e-commerce business? What is the marketing strategy that you use for launching a new product of any kind? Let's just say it's a piece of apparel.
Yeah, if it's new product to them or to everyone in the world, like that's what you gotta lean into, right? And again, social is your cheapest way to get, and what's nice about social is you get instant feedback, right? So if it falls flat, like nothing happened, wow, then you've got to shift it a little bit. And it has to be engaging. It has to be like the mayor with a little smooch on his face. Like that's going to get more play than others. And people are going to share it, not because of the cupcake, but because they want to share the picture. So it's getting creative in those ways. And this is also where getting these guys talking to each other, even if their businesses are very different, and I don't know if you guys want to facilitate that kind of stuff, but that's a huge thing. I make sure my NDs are always talking to their colleagues and that they don't just talk about, fixing people's bodies, but also about their businesses, which a lot of us don't do, right? We want to talk about, the bands or the, whatever's happening. We don't sit down and say, hey, what is this app you're using? That's amazing. And you don't see it, like we don't know they're using an app. We don't know anything.
Right,
So,
and that's one of the reasons I'm asking a lot of these
Yeah,
questions, because I do get the question all the time.
Yeah.
And I mean, how do I market my business?
Yeah.
And if you say, well, here's ways you can do this, or here's ways you can get involved, or here's strategies, they're like, I'm a chef, I'm not a marketer.
Right.
I want to know how to get the marketing
You should probably
done.
go work for somebody.
I don't
because
want
this may
to.
not be your.
Well, but
So,
that's,
yeah, no, I love that. And none of my clients went to school for business. None of them went to do this stuff. And before they hired me, they were just doing it, right? They were figuring it out one step at a time. I really, if you're a small business and you're just starting out, you really do need to spend time getting clear on what your business is. Like I made the mistake of opening my business and pretty much just being like, whatever you throw at me, I got this. And my services were so wide ranged that I was doing all of it because I had to train the people that I was hiring to do it. And it got very overwhelming very quickly. Plus I had a toddler running around at the time. So it was a lot to try and take on. So it would have saved me a lot of time had I been more clear on what my business is and what I really wanted to do, because I knew what I really wanted to do, but I didn't voice that or put it in writing or market to that, right? I just was going door to door to all these NDs and all these people doing all this cool work. A lot of them were people that had done chiropractic work on me or massage or whatever. And I was like, hey, I can help you make your business, blah. And that's great too. I mean, word of mouth is huge, especially in this little community. But if you're trying to go outside of this community, your social media is how you're going to reach more people, but it takes time to build that. So you don't want to make a mistake in the beginning of being like, I'm going to make, pot stickers every day. I mean, her business blown up, but it's working.
Can
It
you
will work for some, but not
speak for a
all.
minute to paid advertising, because people believe that that's how you do it.
Yeah.
Where do I put the paid advertising to get me my business?
Paid advertising has a place. right? So I do run paid campaigns on Facebook and Instagram, and I pay money for Google Ads. But my clients are making $3 million a year. So that's a different space, right? That's, you know, I'm not making.
Right.
They are. That's a different space, right? But for your small business, when you're starting out,
They
your
have
social media,
$200, should they spend it on paid advertising?
no, they should spend it on someone who knows how to do this work, like, you know, me. I mean, and I can do, you know, workshops and stuff. We can figure something out, because I do think it is about sitting in a small room in a group and really focusing in on each business, because as we saw, just for the people that shared so far today, it's very different, right? Everybody's approach and what you're doing and what you want to do, where you're like, "Ooh, I'm never doing social media. I'm not going to be in front of the camera." Like, you have this visual reaction to those things. So you have to figure out, but then how do you do that if you're new to business? I was there. I mean, I was there in many aspects trying to start different businesses. I ran a children's resale clothing shop for a while. I've done a ton of different businesses in my life. And I landed when I got into this business, like I've been doing it for 12 years, as long as I've ever done any business. I love it. I love what I do. I love the people I work with. I mean, you know, the people I work with, they're lovely. They're a little wacky, but they're lovely.
Yep.
They,
I know
and, you know, all clients have that, right? Everybody's a little wacky in their own thing, but it's great. It's so fun once it gets going, but and I know it seems simple and very silly to keep repeating. They have to know what they want to do, and not that they have to have it all figured out in the beginning, but when they start doing free postings, they should be on Google, whether they're virtual or brick and mortar. Google Business is by hands down, just by putting a new post on, you're going to be closer to the top of everybody's search than anyone else. So why wouldn't you do it? It's
Right.
free. And you can keep changing it, right? You can edit it as many times as you want. There's no rules to that. Like, that's a huge thing.
Is the fact that you just said free gonna put people blocking to try to watch this video?
No.
It's purple.
So
She
I
meant
mean,
purple.
I
I don't think so.
But yes, and those, like, those little missteps, you're gonna know it quickly in social media. So if your post of your cupcake where you wrote the words free across it, which, I mean, I'm totally clicking on that. I don't care if it's free or not.
Yeah.
If it doesn't make enough clicks or any clicks, then you know it got blocked by the free, right?
Mhm.
And then you can go, there's tools in both Instagram, all of them have tools where you can look at the analytics, light analytics, or you can dig into all the nitty gritty, which is mind numbing. And it'll tell you, like, it was blocked by these things. And there's apps. I'll give you guys an app too.
There's a couple of things that you're talking has brought up that's just bursting through my head.
Mhm.
When I ran my first city council campaign, I did a little paid advertising on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I didn't, make sure that it was only in my area. So somebody from Florida said, "What the hell?" Why are you advertising in Florida? So at least I knew it got results. It just wasn't the results I really
Right.
needed or wanted. So that
Yeah.
was one of the things. And the other was when people say, "No, I make cupcakes, I don't do advertising." The veterinarian that I work for, I was talking to him about his management style. And he said, "Well, I'm not a manager." And I said, "Oh, you're a manager. You're just a really bad manager." So they are marketers. They're
Yeah.
just not doing it,
Yeah.
the job. It
Yeah.
is, it's once they hung up their shingle as a cupcake person, they
part of
are
the
a
job.
marketer. You're either a good or a bad marketer.
Or you hire or bring somebody into the business
Right.
as your business partner, right? Like, I have a business partner, let's call her business partner. She just does what she does. What I do. We don't really work together, but we do parallel things for the business, right? So she does all the testing of every funnel and every campaign that I send out. It has to go through her, because I miss stuff. You miss stuff when you look at things a million times. So I hired somebody to do that because I am not great at catching my T's not crossed, my I's not dotted. I'm just not great at that. So I ended up bringing somebody in, but I didn't do that on day one because I I didn't know what my business was. I didn't have any money. That's
Mhm.
why I was starting a business, because I, needed to pay rent and feed my kid. And I didn't know where to start or what to do, or, and at that point I had been marketing for the brick and mortar, the optometric clinics in Portland, but I didn't know anything beyond that. So trying to market yourself, even if you've
Mhm.
done it in this way, is different, right? So, but a lot of it is trial and error, right? You've got to put something out there and be okay with it not being perfect, and just see what happens. And then take the time to go back and look. Like, don't be afraid. Some people get afraid to look and be like, oh, 0. Nobody's looked at it. Like Drew's YouTube videos don't get a lot of looks. People don't look at them because we have them locked in a little bubble, and so people can't look at him, but we're not telling him that. Anyway, he just thinks he's a really unsuccessful YouTuber. That's fine. I'm fine with that. Eventually he will go, into the world and.
He'll go in
fine.
therapy in his 30s and
I know.
complain
Be
about
like,
it,
"Oh,
yeah.
my parents."
So I wanted to, are you representing Marsh's? Or?
I'm going to find-
Well, one of the things things I wanted to bring up was one of the more successful campaigns was the Jake's stickers, bumper
Yes.
stickers.
Yeah, it's
They're everywhere, and every Subaru that was ever manufactured has one on its bumper.
They're as far as Japan was.
It's huge.
Around the world.
It's huge.
Yeah.
But if there's a need for a new campaign that doesn't necessarily involve physical stickers, just a blog of where all people have seen Jake in the
Mhm.
world would be wonderful. Have them send the pictures in and put that up on YouTube or up
Or
on
start
social
an
media.
Instagram challenge.
Yeah, right.
And have people
Have
share
people
their
post it
pictures of their
themselves.
Jakes.
Um,
We do have
That's
Facebook
huge.
and we
Yeah.
use our website.
Yeah. Yeah.
Word of mouth, that's.
Do you know what your goal is? Are you wanting to get more foot traffic in? Are you wanting to, I don't know if you guys do
We
online
have a
stuff.
lot of the traffic, we also do mail orders and people
Okay.
can phone in and we will mail out what they may have seen. We have the website, they call in,
Right.
saying
Nice.
they've seen things and we will mail out whatever their desires are.
But there's
That's
probably room for a lot more of that,
Yeah, I'm taking them.
if that's something you want.
Right.
That's a
Well,
can of worms.
right, because
So-
fulfillment is, I just set up fulfillment for
Yeah.
one of my clients. That's a whole other thing. Like, you guys boxing up it in the store if you have a few orders, but they started getting 1,000 orders a day for these tinctures, herbal tinctures. It was killing the staff in the
Yeah.
clinic, right? Because they had to box and paper, blah, blah. And then we found this place, it's Midwest somewhere, Michigan, I think. And we just shipped huge boxes of the tinctures out there. Took a while, some of them broke. We had some errors in the process, but we ended up getting them out there. It was costing them like a fraction of what it was to do it, hand in the store. But, you guys have to figure out where your threshold is for that kind of change and that stuff.
Haven't gotten that big yet.
I mean,
No,
here
but
in the peninsula,
it takes a little, that's where
Yeah.
like she's talking about knowing what you want, what your brand is, what message you want out there is super important, because you could go huge. I mean, Marsh's has a following around the world. It could end up blowing up to way more than you want, so be careful.
Right.
But on the other hand, how great would that be a problem?
Yeah.
If you already knew the stumbling stones ahead of time, had a procurement
Yeah,
facility
Yeah.
lined up, and you just ship them 6 tons of shells and they did all the packaging, wrapping and shipping. It'd just be money that you would never have seen otherwise.
Right.
So those are potential.
your marketing plan is more than just your social media posting and your postcards and your newspaper ad, right? It encompasses this whole evaluation of your business and figuring out, are you scaling to where you want to be? Are you guys growing in the way you want to? And, do you like these phone orders? Does that fit in what you envision doing? And do you have the staff's interest in doing it, right? If you're making somebody do these, boxing the stuff up and they're like, I hate this work. That's not great either, right? It's not sustainable, because we have a very transient community here where people come and they think, oh, the image we like, we got our job and we're working, we're doing stuff. And then 6 months later, they're gone, right? I mean, we all know those people where we're like, we love you, don't leave, and they're just gone. it's an interesting piece of this peninsula. It's just, and staffing's been hard on
Oh, yeah.
all the businesses. I mean, my business too. I had people on the peninsula that I was hiring for my business and they leave. And so now I went back to Fiverr. But you can, you kind of have to figure out what is it that you're getting all this money in, but is it feeding, is it worth it? Is it what you're interested in, where you're going with the business, long term, is that what you want to do? And then I love that, leaning in on the things you've already done. So like the Jake stickers, they're out there already. So what can you do to amplify that
Yeah.
without having to, print 1 million more stickers? I mean, you guys still sell
We have
stickers,
all
but
that Jake gear.
Yeah.
By the
Yeah.
hats and they go
everywhere.
where they go. and
Yeah.
shirts and-
So it could be more than just the stickers. I like the stickers because it's fun to see them on all the cars and everything out there, but I've seen people with the sweatshirts and all sorts of stuff out there. Yeah.
But it can bring people into the store,
Yeah.
it can bring them into the town. I
Right.
mean, it could be a great marketing campaign, it has been for Long
Yeah.
Beach, it has for a long time. The Jake stickers have brought people
Yeah.
here, they wanted to see
Yeah.
where Jake.
And then they have their Jake birthday
Mhm.
because his bride and then
Yeah.
his birthday.
That's not
actually
happening anymore.
You could have
so.
Jake be the face of it, like, when you could have a video where if you did the animated Jake. Now you literally have, this.
It's a ton of
tattoo.
Yeah.
But it is-
Chat GPT could animate.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's so much possibility, next thing you know, Jake's got his own.
Yeah, I wrote that chat, is that what you're talking about, chat?
Yeah.
G is in the letters, GPT. That's, I mean, there's a bunch of apps for the AI thing, but the
There
chat
is.
GPT is kind of the easier one for people that don't want to write their own code and stuff. I mean, there's tons of things that you guys could do, so take your list, think about it. If there's something on there where you're like, okay, tell me how to do that, let's talk about it more next week and we'll sit and.
Advertising's always
Figure it
good.
I know, right? It's, it's the challenging piece is thinking of new things when, because your post that went viral and everybody, loved it and it made, brought in all these clients and everything is great, but now you want even more people to come in. And you can't really use the same thing again, but you can just make a slight alteration to it and send it out again, or you think of something else. That can take some time too, to try and figure out like what it is. And that's where talking to your customers, right? The people that are coming in and are doing the phone orders, like, 6 months later, they're ordering this thing they saw at Marsh's, what is that? Like, what struck them? Like, and Marsh's has its own experience, right? You walk in, there's a smell to it, there's this environment of things, you've got all the critters and all the stuff up there, like it's its own, the machine, like it's amazing. I mean, my son he hangs out there all the time, it's so crazy, like really another show. Yes, it's hermit crab.
We give those
It's-
out too, that's
Good.
another, give out our little free shell that says, Marcus, we're using your thank you.
Yes, yeah,
There's
there's,
so
I mean,
far away.
there's so many fun things in there that, so I mean, you could increase your, online ordering and all that if you wanted to, but I don't know if you guys want to, I don't know where you're at that threshold, right?
Getting there.
And then, during tourist season, when there's so many people coming into the store, that's its own blessing and problems, I'm sure. So. That's interesting. Anything else you think of? It's a lot of good stuff. You're
Yeah, it's
making
a lot of
notes,
good
so
stuff,
you
and I
you
can
got it. You
Take it
got
all
it.
back to Shannon.
Good.
What do you recommend, I know MailChimp for the auto response was pretty popular there for a while.
Mhm.
Do you recommend anyone else or just
MailChimp, it gives you the most free.
yeah,
So
Right.
if you're like me, you love the free,
I
I
do.
do love the free.
Yeah.
And as long as I keep my MailChimp list hygiene, to, people that aren't clicking and stuff, I just dump them as I start to get toward the paid, and then I can just keep my list at, what is it, 2,500 or something like that.
right,
But I don't, I mean, my clients have million people lists, so they have to use something else. A lot of people use constant contact and they like that one.
Yeah.
It is great because it has like a bunch of templates, so you don't have to design your own thing, like it's, you can just, there's a newsletter one that's
Oh,
pretty
nice.
good and like different things that are already in there, so if you're not a designer, Constant Contact is nice. And it does all the same things, like all your analytics are in there, all of your information, and you're writing. What's nice also about MailChimp Constant Contact is it solves your deliverability issues, because now it's their problem,
Right.
right? So even with the free, if your deliverability isn't working, isn't getting to the people, you can reach out to them to be like, why isn't this getting delivered? What are you gonna do about it? And especially if you're paying, but they'll serve the free people too, because I'm constantly on MailChimp, like, what's happening? Why is me?
Yeah, we use Constant Contact and it
Do it.
works just great for us. There are only a couple, you know, you need to be aware that if you're trying to market to bankers or CPAs or lawyers, that it won't get through.
Right, right.
You need to have a different.
Yeah. They can, because they can completely, big corporations especially can completely block an entire like nothing from Constant
Yeah.
Contact come through our thing. There's a lot of big corps that do that just out of the gate, which, so then, you know, so then people buy multiple Gmail accounts and like, you know, try and circumvent it, which is hard. It's, yeah, that's not my jam at all, but
Yeah, you're not our,
it's like.
we don't care.
Deliverability is a whole, like, you know, we hire a person to come and do a whole assessment on my clients' businesses. They'll hire somebody in and, you know, pay them $1,000 to spend a month just like digging into all the deliverability issues with their, if they're just using like Gmail or MailChimp or something like that. Because it gets complicated. It's not a simple solution, because like I was saying, it's so layered and there's so many pieces at play that it's not a quick fix, unfortunately. Sometimes it is. I mean, it's just a, you know, like with Gmail, you can have stuff in your promo tab. So they just need to drag it back to the inbox, and eventually Google will be like, fine, leave it in your inbox.
So if I'm getting bumped, the answer is that somebody's either blocked an email from me at some point. Or spammed it, or they haven't opened a bunch of my emails, and that could make Gmail think.
You go, yeah.
What happens if something were to go into, say, your junk inbox, and then instead of saying move to your inbox, you kind of read the message, you already know, you don't need to look at it because you don't know what is in it, and you delete it? Does that maybe confirm that you think it's junk?
Yeah,
Because that's, I
It'll get
just
picked up
thought
in
about
the
that too, 'cause
algorithm.
Yeah,
that would, yeah.
so then, you know, it's like with that pre-header thing, you can turn that on, where you can see a line or multiple lines, right? So people will not open the emails. So that whole, you know, before our campaigns were really hinging on if they open the email, great. If they didn't, we're gonna send the email again to the unopens. That doesn't work now, because that pre-header piece, and there's a bunch of algorithm stuff that messes it up too, but the pre-header piece, it doesn't signal back. There's no code. I mean, they're starting to figure out.
so you
how to
might
get
have
that
blocked
happen.
yourself without knowing it
You
by
could've-
deleting something unread from yourself because you knew what it said.
I send things from myself to myself all the time for lots of reasons.
But you might not want to read them.
But
so
I don't have to open it, I know what it
Yeah,
says,
so
and
now
now
you
you
do.
forwarded it to myself.
Now you know.
And now I know I should open all my own emails from me.
I was gonna say, cause there's a lot that were coming from the EDC that would constantly go into my junk inbox and be like, I don't know how many times I've said, you know, this isn't, but there have been times where, oh, I already knew what that email was, so I didn't, you know,
Delete it,
forward it
yeah.
to my inbox and just deleted it straight.
Sometimes
from
the
there.
training, you're training your computer to do is not what you want it to do, but in the moment, you're like, this is how I'm living my life, come on. So, yeah.
I mean, when we talk near our phones and it knows what we just talked about, and picks it up, they should be able to read our minds about what we want to see. You shouldn't have to tell them.
We're almost there.
It's so.
Yeah. I swear that happens a lot.
Okay,
So much, yeah.
so,
Horrifying.
so a little recap, so first of all, this handout, you're gonna share with me, so we can make sure we give it to the person online.
Who
Yeah,
has,
we already-
who
I
has
did.
left for the?
I did.
Just went.
Oh, just
I
like,
sent them already. The
Oh,
handout.
no, I'm just saying
Oh,
she's
okay, did you
offline
send it to
now,
me?
just.
The
don't have to
handout,
worry
no,
about
but I will send it to you digital.
okay, cool, because I think this is really valuable to
Yeah,
help.
yeah.
The conversation. And second of all, so. SEO, important, so following these little tasks, and I've actually been numbering some of the things in my handout that are actually.
Great
Has things.
handout for new businesses. I didn't go into as much detail than probably would for.
Oh, we don't
you know,
need
like a
detail.
new
No, that'll
business
scare
client.
them.
But this is a great, like, if they know how to Google search, they can search for each of these things and kind of start.
Yeah, this
seeing
is
stuff.
exactly the right amount of
Great
information.
little-
I
and
think
people
so
want something,
too.
It's just,
You know, it's just like,
Start
oh,
at
that's
the
above
beginning.
beyond me, that's something I can do, that's something I can do, I'll find out more about
Right.
those things.
right,
I do have a question about this school,
yeah. Marie Fairleo, yeah.
Marie
one.
Forleo.
So she has some
Which,
free
first of all, I really
videos
like
too.
that name, just saying.
I know, right?
Yeah,
Too.
okay. Sorry about that. Thinking about having a baby and naming it Marie.
There you go,
Yeah.
there you go.
Okay, so how much does it cost and what all is involved in this, or do you know?
So she has a various things, so you can go, you know, high end and do like her whole. What it is, it's not a year long anymore, I think it's a 6-month program, and she goes into all the things, and what. Really, the benefit of buying one of her programs is if you love handouts, you're gonna get them all on there, like. You get this whole library of all this stuff, which you can download or you can just log in and get it. And what I really like about Marie is she has it all kind of broken down. So if you're a new business, you could do the little $75, I'm starting a new business plan. And you get access to all these handouts, and I think there's a couple videos in there, but it's pretty, like, she's giving you step by step how to do it. That would be, I mean, for even my clients, I have them start there. If they don't come to me with kind of the basics already set up, it's too painful for me to have to go to the basics, so. I have them go through either Marie's school, or there's a couple different schools out there. that
This is the
could
one
do
you
that.
like.
I like this one because it is brief. It's very to the point, and then if you do the bigger one, and I can't remember how much it is, but it's over $1,000. She does actual like call-ins, so you can call and ask, pose, you know, she just hot seats, they call them, but basically you, like I was doing with you guys. You ask them questions, talk about their business, and then, you know, sit down and you guys actually work on a specific campaign, which I mean, I'm happy to do next week with you guys too. If you have something that you want to workshop, because we have great minds in this room. And all of us together could probably come up with the next Jake campaign, if that's what we want to do.
I would love to do
So
a
if you have something where you want to just
Test
do
thing.
a scenario with, you know, we could do the cupcake thing or whatever, we could probably all come up with a few things that would lend to that. It could be really fun. And I feel like you learn something for your own business out of those shares, right? Everybody kind of is like, oh, yeah, I could do it, swap cupcakes for this or whatever. Plus we're just, you know, you're talking about kind of what works and what doesn't work, which is really helpful to skip those steps that, you know, aren't working. So, but I'm excited for all these new businesses in the area. I think that's amazing. I love starting new businesses. It's my favorite thing. My husband said I can't start a new one anymore, but I'm still excited.
I'm not allowed to buy any more cars.
Can't have more shoes, although he doesn't know about this pair. Let's start a new business. Oh, dude. Yeah, I would not put it past him. Jeez. Oh. Anyway, so yeah,
It's way towards the end, you'd have to
super
watch
fun.
the whole thing.
Exactly. He's not gonna make it that far.
No, he's not gonna make it
He's
that
off
far.
on a pickleball video by now.
Yeah, something else, yeah.
Yes, yeah, I love that. I think that would be really helpful and fun.
I like practical exercises because it empowers people to feel like,
Mhm.
oh, it's something we could try. So I think that's a good class assignment for us. We may fail.
That's how you succeed.
But exactly, so let's try to think of a good achievable little something. To try,
Scenarios.
yeah, scenario or two, maybe for one of the festivals that's coming up, or promoting the job fair, or something that we normally, that we could do a beginning, middle and end on, pretty
Yeah.
simple. One-time things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love that. That'll be fun.
Okay.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yay.
We're gonna do it, or maybe we'll do Jake. That'd be fun too.
I want the
Yeah.
celebrities eating cupcakes.
I think that's brilliant.
That would be fun too,
That's fun.
except I
That's
have
fun.
talked about this person's business without their knowledge or consent, so maybe she'd be into
And
it.
then she'd be swamped with orders and.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Overnight.
Yeah.
How many times I've been like, I need a good cookie.
If that's a good one, I will actually contact them and say, hey, can we do this?
Yeah.
There was a
That-
person in town that made these cupcakes that had filling inside them. I became addicted to them and then she went away.
And it's sad, I'm very sad.
It's
Yeah.
the
What's
saddest
the
thing.
fine lady and her husband, they started just online with in Chinookville.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah.
something sort of now, got her own, so maybe. And then we'll continue to go.
It's
It's a
great.
celebrity
Yeah.
cupcake.
Yeah.
The
I
whole
love
thing
it.
would be a great thing to do
See Twitter.
for something else too. Like
Which is about.
a celebrity cupcake event, like tying it into something else to get people to,
Mhm.
I don't know.
That
Figure it
could,
out.
celebrity cupcake could go viral.
I just
Take a
love.
while.
Cupcake eating contest.
Could be.
I
Oh,
just-
God.
I just love the phrase celebrity cupcake.
I do too, C squared.
Well, yeah, and putting it out on social media, you get, kind of interesting connections with celebrities, people
Hey, look
that
at-
you, are like, oh, I love that person.
Yeah.
And suddenly they're following me.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could just give someone with a big blank circle in the middle of their t-shirt, holding a cupcake, and you have the cupcake celebrity challenge, it's like put your face on.
Oh, yeah.
So you have tons of ideas, what are you saying?
All kinds of ideas.
All these ideas though.
I'm a creative genius.
You are.
I had a question,
Great.
does LBMA use all the optimization where you put a post and it goes out to all of the media platforms?
We have Instagram and we've got several pages that we do. I basically just kind of forward everything on to Nancy, our volunteer social media gal.
But you
She gotta set us up in Meta Business or whatever that sort of thing. So she does schedule out.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
a
We are
weird
using
question,
it.
I have to
Yeah,
know,
somebody-
but
Yeah,
how do you feel about Meta?
We don't use.
I mean, I'm
It
gonna
goes
use
too
all
far.
of it until.
Yeah.
Until it doesn't, serve me.
Does it serve you?
So, it does, yeah.
I've been
Yeah.
annoyed with it because it puts
I
me wherever it wants and
I
it
know.
does whatever it wants.
There's a
learning
love
curve.
with all of it, right, where you're like.
Yeah.
And then you're, I'm always like, what did I do that? What happened? So, but it's complicated, right, it's all,
and it's getting seems like they're constantly moving settings and.
They are.
oh, yeah.
Well, they're constantly advancing, and then on top of it, where you find issues is once you feel like you got a grasp on it. For me, for
Mhm.
instance, with TikTok, finally got it, heck yeah, awesome, everything's linked together, well, now Facebook and TikTok aren't getting along.
Yeah.
So to post it onto there, to link it, so then you have to
Yeah.
deal with these bigger corporations that where are we in politics?
Right.
What platform can you use at that time?
It's-
So it is a love hate that you will go through for a propagated effort.
Okay, so then it's about having that expectation. I mean, if somebody
Yeah.
tells me that at the front end.
Right.
This is always gonna be chaos, then I'll be like, oh, okay, I know it's gonna be chaos, it's my comfort zone, I know how to do.
I'd say be patient and just keep posting
Yeah.
everywhere.
Take your slice of the chaos that you can handle, like, don't drive yourself insane trying to
Right.
like figure out something that's just not working. When you could have posted in all these, more fun, exciting ways and just, don't force it, I guess.
Well, some of us have to force it a little bit because I'm, no, seriously, it's just not
Well, you do,
my.
you've gotta push yourself out of your comfort
Yeah.
zone a little, but if
Look at
you,
it like this,
Or find somebody that
where it's their natural space and hopefully a volunteer, because
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's what I always want, is like, I want a seventh grader.
That's what I put on the
On-
list in
on-
there.
is
You'll
it
see
on
that
there?
is like, find a high schooler
Yeah.
who carries their phone and is like this all the time. That's the person you want right now,
Right.
because
Right.
I'm always reaching out to my nieces, they're 20 somethings. And they are like, oh, yeah, we don't do Snapchat anymore, and Cindy, that's so good. And
No,
I'm
no.
like, wait, why? I was just got it.
Yeah,
I know. As soon as I figure stuff out, I know I'm in trouble, because you know what I mean, I'm gonna catch a certain group that spent as much time as I did trying to
In there, right?
get in there, and so I'm okay, barely okay at the moment. Because most of the people that I'm reaching out to are the same age as me,
right,
most of them, and so that's okay, but you know, that's only for another minute or so, because they're all gonna die out in a second.
well, and that's kind of, yeah, looking to the next generation of people, because ours is a silver haired audience. And they all do Facebook and email, and that's it.
And the other.
And so when we move
That's all they
beyond
know how to
that,
do.
Right, right.
we do occasionally get the youngins in here that I have to think about, do I know how to card anybody? I don't know.
Download Snapchat on my phone so I can watch it when people send it to me, and they're like, how did you snap me? I'm like, "Ah." Yeah,
I got banned from Instagram and I don't go on Instagram. How did I get banned? Somebody must have hijacked me, you know, I don't care. It's not gonna affect my life, you know, so I didn't bother to fix it. Like, whatever,
Yeah,
anybody that knows me knows that.
there's there's all kinds of things, and some of them make sense to pursue and get a presence on. And some of them are just a waste of time, and that's one of the things I'm trying to always do, is figure out.
Yeah.
Which one am I supposed to be paying attention to? What I'm hearing you say is, I can change it any minute. So
Right.
I just need to not hold on to that question, it's the wrong question.
You've gotta look at, again, asking the people in the community, if you're dealing with local, right? We're Facebook and we're
Just ask,
email,
yeah.
right? That's it. And I mean, you hear everywhere I go, like I go to Sid's and grocery shop, and everywhere you go, you hear it. I also go to the tourist office, they're up by me in Seaview, and get their like what's happening event list thing that they print out, because I can never be on Facebook enough to catch all the events. And
And
figure
do
out
that in the
what's
morning, you gotta come down to us.
I know, you guys, I picked it up when I was in. Because I'm like, I don't know what's going on in the peninsula, and you know, Drew will come home with stuff from school and be like, this is happening and I gotta be here, and you know, he's in the band, he's doing all this stuff. So we feel like we're pretty in the community, but there's so much going on here.
There
It's
is.
just constant, and you know, we're running to Chinook for stuff, we're going up, up to Ocean Park for stuff, it's fun, but it's a lot. I don't like to miss out. I may not go, but I still wanna know that I could have.
Apparently, you're not even paying attention to all the events that are in the other parts of the county too, because there's a whole. bunch
It's
of things going
everywhere.
on there, too.
Well, yeah,
I started venturing to Nassau and kind of started going some other places. but,
Oh, it's
you know,
just endless.
everywhere.
It's all the way
I
up
went
to
to
top.
everything, yes.
Yeah.
You have to go.
And I missed
the shelters. You know what I'm talking
It was one of the,
Somebody,
yeah.
one of our neighbors sent me
you know,
this, and like,
they're all
"When you see
thing
this?"
is to be on site, I wanted to go to that, and I
Yeah, you can go
forgot about it because my dinner meeting got moved up.
I have so much driftwood that I'm planning to do art with any day now.
All
No,
right,
you didn't do anything personal.
Should we stop recording?
I know, but if I leave my house, it's usually for something like this.